I recently got the chance to test over a 3-day period the Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro and the GT Pro, thanks to Triumph Balcatta, and I came to some surprising conclusions, as I was surprised how engaging that triple cylinder actually was, but on top of that, I came to quite a controversial conclusion. So today we're going to go into the specs, what separates both of these bikes, what kind of rider I think suits each of these motorcycles, and try and answer that fundamental question. Do we really need the Rally? Well, let's find out. And let's start off by talking about what's great about both of these bikes. And it all begins with the engine in my eyes. It's what separates these two Triumphs from everything else in the middleweight adventure bike category. In a sea of parallel twins, this is a 3-cylinder T-plane engine. It really stands apart from all the other competition, and I think it should be a major reason why you would be thinking about these bikes as your next adventure bike. Like the parallel twin, they've got a lot of low down grunt to offer straight off the line, but on top of that, you've also got that characteristic mid-range and top end that a 4-cylinder has. So you really are getting the best of both worlds. Not only that, but the engine sounds fantastic and it's got the power to back it up. This motor in both of these motorcycles makes 106.5 horsepower and around 90 Newton meters of torque. So you're definitely not going to be wanting for power on either of these bikes. And the thing I love about Triumph with these two motorcycles is they haven't detuned the GT Pro to set it apart from the Rally. You're getting the full fat motor in the GT Pro Adventure Touring model as well. It always frustrates me when manufacturers detune the more road biased version. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing. So the looks of this bike really isn't inspiring. When I went to test ride these bikes, I wasn't thinking that these would feel any different to the GS's or the Tenerés or the Africa Twins that I've ridden in the past. But when you hop on and hit that button and hear the triple for the first time, and you twist that throttle, it's a very different experience. That, I believe, is why you should probably be looking at these Triumphs. If that's what you're after, a little bit of difference, some character, and a really versatile engine, then that's what these Tigers have going for them. Twist that throttle and it just wants to go. It eggs you on. There's quite a few times riding both of these bikes where I twisted the throttle, looked down at the speedo and thought, woof, I'm glad there's no speed cameras around. That'd be the end of my license. They've got that much to give and it's really exciting and really engaging, but they're also quite happy to bumble along as well. So it's a Jekyll and Hyde type thing going on. So power's there if you want it to get yourself in trouble, but it's also just as happy to remain in legal speeds. And it's all in the name, and I'm sure you're thinking it's very obvious solid, and it is, but the conclusion is not obvious, I can assure you. So the Rally Pro clearly is the more off-road capable of the bunch, hence the Rally name. The GT Pro Grand Touring is the Adventure Tourer. Clearly Triumph are telling you which bike is best for what. And given the specifications, that backs that up. Both bikes have a 17-inch rear, but the Rally gets spoke tubeless wheels and that all-important 21-inch front wheel, whereas the GT Pro has cast wheels and a 19-inch front wheel. So again, that is showing you that the Rally is ready for the off-road, and the GT made more for adventure touring where you're going to be spending more time on the road. The suspension backs that up as well. The Rally Pro gets the better suspension. It has shower suspension front and back, 45mm front forks giving you 240mm of travel, with manual preload, rebound and dampening adjustment. And the rear is adjustable for preload and rebound dampening, and gives you 230mm of travel. Whereas the GT Pro gets slightly less capable suspension and it isn't quite as premium. This time they're Marzocchi front and rear shocks. You do still get some adjustability with the front forks having manual, rebound and compression dampening, but you're only getting 180mm of travel, so significantly less compared to the Rally. But here's where it gets interesting. The rear on the GT Pro has only 170mm of travel, so again, significantly less than the Rally Pro, and is adjustable for preload and rebound dampening. But the kicker here is that you can do that electronically on the fly while riding this bike. So that is a big plus. And we'll talk about that more as we get into the video, as that is a bigger deal than you might assume. The other thing that goes along with different suspension, of course, is different seat heights. The GT Pro has the lower seat height. In the low setting, it's 820 millimeters, which is pretty damn good. Can go up to 840 millimeters. You're on the shorter side. This is going to be a bike that you should be able to get your feet on the ground. And the Rally has an extra 40 millimeters, starting out in the low setting at 860 millimeters, and you're going up to 880 millimeters for the tall setting. There's a few other little differences as well we need to talk about. Rider modes. The Rally Pro comes with more rider modes than the GT Pro. The GT Pro has 5 rider modes, which is plenty. But the Rally Pro also comes with an off-road mode as well. The other one, interestingly, is that the Rally Pro, the one made for off-road where you think you would want lightweight, is 228 kilograms wet, whereas the GT Pro is 222 kilograms wet. So the bike made for road use is actually lighter than the bike made for off-road use. Now 6 kilos, I'd argue at those weights, 220 plus kilos, it really isn't going to make much of a difference. They're both going to be a bit of effort to pick up off the ground, especially if you're going to be doing it repeatedly if you're taking these things into the dirt. They're both, in my view, fairly heavy for the middleweight category. But other than that, the bike is basically the same chassis, the same petrol tank, the same aesthetics. You're getting a cruise control, quick shifter, heated seats, and heated grips on both of these bikes. So they really haven't dumbed down the GT Pro at all. The other separator that is minimal, but we need to discuss, is the price. Here in Australia, the price is roughly about $1,000 difference between the two. The models that I tested, the Rally Pro with that particular colorway was $26,300 from Triumph. Whereas the GT Pro that I rode on that day was $24,790. So which of these bikes suits you best as the rider? If you spend a fair amount of time in the dirt and you absolutely must have a 900 Tiger to do so, then the Rally Pro is going to make the most sense. But if you want the better on-road performing bike, you spend a lot of time doing more adventure touring, then the GT Pro is going to make the most sense by far. But here comes the controversial take and the epiphany that I had when I was riding both of these bikes back to back. Triumph aren't going to like me saying this, but despite the Rally having the better suspension, the off-road wheels, the more aggressive off-road look, and being the top of the line of the bunch, I don't think it's the bike that most people need. And here's why. Ostensibly, if you're wanting the off-road capable adventure bike, you go for the Rally Pro. But I had this discussion with my mate when we were riding both of these bikes. If either of us were really wanting to go off-road seriously, we wouldn't choose the Tiger at all. There's far better middleweight adventure bikes out there from other manufacturers. The Tenere 700, Aprilia's Touareg 660, KTM 790 and 890 Adventure R, these are all very accomplished and proper off-road adventure bikes. You can really take those off-road in a serious way. And some of them are significantly cheaper as well, so there's also that to consider. This 900 Rally Pro is handicapped mostly by its weight as well as the 17-inch rear wheel. So that led me to the thought of, that means that the Rally Pro really isn't needed for most people. The only scenario I can see you really needing the Rally Pro is if you've absolutely got to have a Triumph, which I understand. If you've got brand loyalty or you want that triple motor and you want that off-road capability, then by all means get one, because it is a fantastic bike. But there are smarter choices out there if you're not loyal to the brand itself. Whereas the GT Pro, I think, might potentially be the best adventure tourer in the middleweight category because of that engine. It's just so versatile. On the road, the triple makes a lot more sense over a twin, particularly in the adventure touring realm where a lot of it is high speeds. GT Pro is no slouch off-road either. It's still capable of dirt roads and easy twin track. You did get yourself into a sticky situation and you had to get yourself out. The Triumph Tiger GT Pro has got enough off-road capability to get you out in a pinch. And the benefit you get is that active suspension. You can adjust the suspension on the fly at the rear, and that makes it really versatile because you can head out on an adventure. I can't tell you the amount of multi-day adventures where I've head out to my destination and I've forgotten to adjust my suspension to account for all the extra luggage or the pillion. And I've just had to put up with the suspension not being tuned for the purpose that I'm riding for. And then I've had adventure bikes with electronic suspension, and it saved me multiple times because I can just adjust it on the fly and it has real world results. And the Rally Pro does not get that. So with the extra weight of the Rally Pro, most people are never taking these adventure bikes anywhere serious enough to justify the Rally Pro. And if you did, there's better choices. And on top of that, the price differential and the active suspension on the GT Pro, I think the GT Pro makes the most sense for most people. Controversial maybe, but I think if you think it out logically, you'll end up with the same conclusion that I've come to. If you're looking between both of these, of course, ride them both, see which one suits you best, but don't discount the GT Pro just because it's an adventure tourer, because it really is the dark horse of the bunch. I'd love to know your thoughts. If you've ridden both, what do you think? I'd love to hear your real world experience. Plenty of people read the comment section, so share your wisdom as an owner. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, don't forget to stay shiny side up.